Hey, folks, it's your old pal Justin Robert Young here. I just wanted to let you guys know that if you like this show, but you don't like politics, I would still consider you guys to be prime qualified audience for the Politics live show. Well, it's live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Justin R. Young, and it's in podcast form. It's a very irreverent look at things. Anybody who's listened to it would tell you that this is not your average kind of back and forth, tug of war political podcast show. So go ahead and give it a spin. Wherever you find podcasts, look for Politics, and give it a try. But enough of talking about other stuff I do. What do you say we just begin the show?
On the day that we met on the internet, I asked her for a photograph. She sent it over to me, said, I know it's ugly. And I said, girl, ugly ain't the half. Look at you. Well, you got blue teeth and you only got 2 teeth, but I kind of like to see you smile. And it appears that over the years you've turned into a big old steaming pile. And she said, yeah, I know I ain't no supermodel. I said, you ain't a hand model, baby, but that's fine, 'cause you're pretty ugly by most people's standards, but you're all right by mine.
You know, every once in a while, sometimes I think, you know, a lot of shows don't do kind of like big old fashioned like 80s television show long intros anymore. Now everybody, it's just like 4 notes like bing bong 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 bing bong 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 bing bong, and it's like hello and welcome to the Blink Block podcast, where we take a look at Blink Block. Just kidding, it's about murder, because that's what all podcasts are about. And I'm like, you know, it's kind of not great that I play effectively the first verse and the chorus of a song. It's long. It's a long time. But then I'm like, I mean, what am I going to do? Not play all of All Right by Mine by the Possum Posse? Like, that just seems ridiculous. That song's amazing. I'm actually, before we get into it, I'm going to give an unsolicited shout out to another podcast. I would highly recommend anybody who is in any way country music or just music history in general or just good podcasts, take your boy Jerbs' word for it. Go ahead and download Cocaine and Rhinestones. It's a new podcast. Taylor Mahan Coe, I believe, is the man who researches and does it. And it is great. A lot of awesome country music stories. And I'm like halfway through the available episodes. And there's some really cool stuff happening because country music is not a gigantic scene. So you're starting to see different characters from the different episodes kind of run into each other the later we get in the season. It's like its own little extended cinematic universe. So big shout out to Cocaine and Rhinestones. If you dig it, let him know on Twitter that I shouted him out, because I want independent media to support independent media. All right. I got a question. Right now as I record this, it is December 26, 2017. It is a Tuesday. What the fuck is anybody doing today, huh? I mean, I don't mean to get aggressive here. I don't mean to get all up in anybody's face. But what the hell are you doing? What are you doing right now? And I don't mean it in like, hey, stop doing something. I mean, I'm generally very confused. Is everybody working? Like, we're done with the holiday technically, but we're only another couple days away from another holiday. Also, since most businesses kind of run on a yearly structure, we're kind of done with anything that's going to be counted toward 2017. End of the year parties have happened. Bonuses have been doled out. Half of the country has already taken paid time off. In fact, this is probably the biggest week for panic PTO, because a lot of these companies want to force you to burn your PTO because of assholes like me. This is another reason why I'm a very bad employee. I'm bad with PTO. I never take it. I literally just look at it as money credits, and I just cash out my money credits if they allow me to. Or eventually I quit, and then they have to pay me the equivalency money-wise. But there are some people that are working on the holidays, and these are the people that I sympathize with, because it's just a useless time. And I'm glad that things are open, and I'm glad that people have the opportunity to work, specifically if they need the money. But, oh, God, can we all understand the frustration that comes along with walking in and dealing with the kind of people that crawl out from under the rocks on the 26th of December? Peace be with you to anybody in retail today. Peace be with you. Because I can't imagine the flood of idiocy of people who are returning things today. They got it yesterday. They already have it. They already hate it. They're going to come in and they're going to ruin your day. They are going to come in and they're going to forget their receipt, and they're going to want money when you can only give them store credit. Oh, Jesus. And meanwhile, you have to just have this fog hanging over. You just have to have this mist hanging over you that almost whispers, as if from God himself, telling you, today is pointless. What is that, my Lord? Today, is pointless. What do you mean? Every day is a day living in your vision. I am making the world better for you, the Lord our God. Yeah, so normally that's true. But today, not at all. Am I any less your creation today, my Lord? No, you're getting off on the wrong point. What I'm trying to say is, why? What do you mean, why? Why? What do you mean, why? Why are you even doing anything? Well, you're supposed to give me answers, the Lord our God. Yeah, I know, but even I don't know why anybody is doing anything between Christmas and New Year's. Why not just sleep? What if I'm not tired? But what if you were? It would really not change anybody's life, right? I mean, you'd know you're God. I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure. How sure? Pretty sure. Totally sure? No, just pretty sure. All right, well, I'm going to go back to working at Arby's. Cool. I'm going to just go back to being God. All right. Anyway, see you later. Effectively, that's what we've all had, right? We've all had that thought. We've all been visited by the Lord our God, who is either whispering in your ear or he has smoked unfiltered Pall Malls since the beginning of time. What you didn't know about the Big Bang was that God created the universe pretty much to light an unfiltered Pall Mall. God was just chilling in the infinity, and he forgot his lighter, and he was just shit, where's my fucking lighter? Oh, God, damn it, Don't you hate it? Don't you? Well, nobody. I guess I'm just an ethereal being in the infinity. Do I use God powers to light this cigarette? Do I use the powers of the infinity to light this? What can it hurt? All life created. He's been smoking these Pall Malls ever since, which is why he sounds like that. But also, what are we doing? This is the taint. The taint between Christmas and New Year's. Or maybe I'm just fussy today. I'm fussy today because I do actually have to get a lot done between today and tomorrow. I am going to Japan. And I'm a little nervous because I'm very nervous about the language barrier. I don't know why. And everybody who's been to Japan a million times, they're all like, hey, man, don't worry about it. And I've met some people that are just, as country as all get out who've been to Japan, and they loved it, and they don't, they wouldn't know a fajita from a fajita, but love being in Tokyo. Everybody speaks English, apparently. It's not the end of the world. Beyond the fact that apparently all throughout the world now it is totally commonplace, specifically in a region that is as technologically as advanced as Japan, that even if you don't speak the language and they do not speak English, you can still just talk into your Google Translate and then hand it to them, and they will talk into your Google Translate, and you can pretty much get whatever you need done. However, I'm just going to say I'm nervous about it. And I don't know why. I feel like people are just going to laugh at me and I'm just going to be the big dumb American. I'm just going to be a big old, just a big-headed American goon, just gooning around, just like knocking over people's stuff and farting loud and, saying that I'm a wild and crazy guy. I'm mixing a lot of metaphors here. I guess all I'm saying is this. Maybe this is just the baseline kind of nerd in me, but I'm very sensitive about being laughed at. This is an odd thing. An odd thing for me, considering I make my living talking in front of people, hopefully trying to make them laugh. But there's still one part of me that's just like, I'm going to struggle. You want to know what it is? Like, I struggle if I go to a Japanese restaurant, and a lot of Japanese restaurants out here just have, the stuff that's listed there in just a traditional Japanese word that isn't Americanized much. So I got to just like sort of point to it. And I got to struggle through it. Can I please have the Katsamina, like, I guess I don't even know where to start. So I'm going to struggle through it. We are going to do one of these from Japan, me and my wife. So you guys will hear next week how I handle Tokyo. If you are in Tokyo, then go ahead and hit me up, Justin R. Young. If there's enough people, maybe we'll have a little get together. See if people want to meet out there in old Tokyo. But the buck in our Twitch chat room points out that I once on a comedy album told a story wherein I was the international asshole. But that was in London. You know, those Brits. You could play around with the Brits. We got a special relationship, right? Us in America. America and the UK, come on, we can horse off. Also, it's like everybody knew what I was saying, so it wasn't the end of the world. And maybe, I don't know, like maybe I'm gonna say something wrong. The next thing you know, it's gonna be like I'm gonna have to race the Yakuza in a drift. The cars are lighter here. No promises on live streams. I mean, we will live stream. I don't know if it's going to be at any kind of time that anybody's going to be able to watch. But the VODs will be available. So if you don't already, then go ahead and follow my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Justin R. Young, and my wife's Twitch channel, twitch.tv/FakeGamerGirl. I do look forward to doing one of my favorite things out there in Japan, and that is to sit at bars, talk to strangers. That's a great thing to do, is to sit at bars and talk to strangers. You learn a lot. And there is certainly something, a story that I've been sitting on that I'm very excited to bring here to the show. Now, I want to begin this by saying that this is something that I want to hear feedback on. Whether you know what this is, you are fascinated by it as I became fascinated by it, or if you have been involved in it. It came across my radar when I was at a bar out here in Oakland a little while ago. Got to talking with a guy. This guy was recently back in Oakland from Mississippi. He does not live in Mississippi. He is in Mississippi because he had just served a month and 1 week in jail there. He got arrested for this while he was in Oakland. Or rather, let me start from the beginning. Apparently, this new friend of mine at the bar was also from Florida, which is where we got to talking. He went out to New Orleans. When he was driving back from New Orleans to Florida, you have to drive through Mississippi. This apparently is something that puts you on notice for the local police, because the biggest funnel for either pills or money into the American South is from Florida through Mississippi. So you are very, very highly likely to get pulled over on this specific highway if you have a Florida plate. And unlike many other situations where you are kind of, if you don't have anything on your record and you get pulled over by a cop and you're not, of a certain ethnic persuasion, you don't really have much to worry about. Not the case if you got Florida plates. They will tear apart your car because they are so sure that you are either bringing pills or money. Well, this guy was not bringing pills or money. He was literally just going on a little tourist trip to New Orleans. Unfortunately, lost in his car was a little baggie of cocaine. I-12, or 112, rather, says Open Bayou. I think that was what it was. I don't remember it exactly. Now, the reasons why he had the cocaine are kind of inconsequential. It was a very small amount. So small that he wound up fighting it in court. He was informed that literally the only reason why he was pulled over was because of the reasons that I told you, and he should be able to get it dismissed. So believing that he had this thing kind of wrapped up, life went on. Hadn't heard anything about it. Wound up moving from Florida to Oakland. In Oakland, he wound up going and getting a driver's license. Getting all sorts of stuff. Things that you would theoretically think that if you had an outstanding issue in another state, you would not be able to get these things licensed. For context, when I was getting my license renewed, they made sure that my title was transferred to California. And they would not let me renew my license until I did it. In fact, actually, no, it wasn't the title. They needed to resolve a speeding ticket that I had resolved in Florida. It just had not been done paperwork-wise between the two states. So they're pretty strict about it. And he hadn't had any kind of problems. That is until he did. All of a sudden, he winds up parking illegally for X amount of time. Cop pulls up and goes ahead and says, "All right, I'm gonna write you a warning, right? But just give me your license. I gotta run it." So he does. Here's the problem. For whatever reason, in that background check, the cop's background check, not the DMV's, his court case comes up. Turns out his lawyer didn't settle everything. In fact, he found out later his lawyer wound up going out of business, passing it off to another lawyer who also went out of business. This wound up going to a public defender who didn't inform him of what had happened. He was found guilty of the crimes that they accused him of, meaning that he had a misdemeanor drug charge in Mississippi. Wow, indeed. Now, I tell you all this to let you know what kind of razor's edge this man went from I'm just living my life to what I am about to tell you about. Because he goes to jail in Alameda. And then he is informed that he is going to be extradited, I don't know if that's the right term, to Mississippi. So riddle me this, Twitch chat. How do you get from Oakland to Mississippi if you are a prisoner? How do you move that person from one place to another? When you think about it, it is a fairly vexing problem. America is a gigantic place. One might think that there could be a few different options, right? Maybe there's a menu provided to you as a prisoner to get yourself if you would like to foot the bill. The answer is this: the Prison Transport Services of America. This is how it's done. You do not get a choice. A van comes to pick you up. What was described to me as a paddy wagon. You are put into handcuffs on your wrists and your ankles. You have room for 8 people on the benches, but that does not mean that they will not put more to crouch in the center. Here's what does not happen when you are in the Prison Transport Services of America vans. You do not get time to sleep. They do not bring you places so you can catch a quick cat nap. They feed you only what they are mandated to by law, and you are only allowed to go to the bathroom when they stop for you, which is not very often. Every once in a while, bottles are passed back, empty bottles are passed back for the sanity of everybody. But you are effectively put in one of these vans for as long as it takes to get you to where you are going. And by the way, there is no direct spot to where you are going. My man that I was talking to went from Oakland to San Diego to Idaho. And that was just in the first week. Yes, week. That man, before he got out of the first van that he was in there for 1 week. Now, why does it take so long to get from one point to another? Because this is a for-profit company, which means that they are basically the Uber for prisoners. If they are driving from Oakland to San Diego and somebody calls them in Seattle, they're going to drive up to Seattle if they are the closest van to get that prisoner, because that prisoner equals money. The dude spent a week and a half in that van. And he had some crazy ass stories of just the people that were in there. Some of them were in for things like oh shit, I don't know. What do you call it? Yeah. Oh yeah, murder. They got to, every once in a while, you could get they would be able to stop at a jail and let everybody off so they could all go to the bathroom and stuff like that. But that was the only time that they could stop, is at jails, because you're not allowed to expose prisoners to the outside world unless you are doing it through the proper channels. And also, it is up to the jails. It is up to the jails to decide whether or not they will let you. So a jail can say, yeah, all right, we are accepting this prisoner. But if they're like, hey, can we let the other prisoners out so they can pee and stretch their legs a little bit? They can say, sorry, little buddy, keep that bus on rolling down the road. Now, I see a lot of people in here saying that this is like privatization at work. And surely, this is a for-profit company. And my man wound up getting, and I might be correcting this, but a $2,500 bill for all of this. Something where he could have bought many plane tickets to make sure that he was restrained properly to go drop him off where he was going. However, I have no reason to believe that if this were run by the government, that it would be run any differently. Except maybe they wouldn't totally family circus route throughout the United States. But then again, they would probably just run on a general highway loop around. And you'd probably wind up having these week-and-a-half long journeys anyway, depending on where you got arrested and where you were going. So it's probably a wash in the end. And unless you're going to charter airplanes, ground transportation is probably what you would wind up doing anyway, right? I will say this is the only thing that I will agree with. Dan Wally says that you would have accountability. And you want to know what? I kind of agree with that. Because I did not know what the fuck the Prison Transport Services of America was until this dude told me about it. And it's one of the wildest things that I have ever heard in my entire life. So I would encourage everybody to look into it. Because, and also, if you have ever been on one of these, please email me. Please, please, please email me. Because some of the stories that this dude had were just nuts. I mean, people who are legit crazy. They wound up getting to a prison. And one of the guards looks at the guy who he was sitting next to the entire time and says, "Oh, I just saw you on the news." The prisoner says, "Oh, did you? What for?" "Murder." It's like, "Yeah, that's me." And it turns out it was him. And it was him even though he had had his head shaved, and in those pictures, he had had an afro. That guard knew who that guy was from the news. Imagine, you're just coming home from work. There's some shit in your past that you thought was buried. And then all of a sudden, boom. You're next to a dude wanted for murder for a solid week where you're both peeing in bottles and trying to bonding over the fact that the other guys talk too goddamn much. Oh. I need any and all. I hope you guys are as fascinated by that as I am. All right. What do you say? We got one more news story, and then we have our emails for the day. Oh, Jimmy Two Times says that service has to be for longer commutes. I'm almost positive it's just for interstate transfers. So if you got arrested in Georgia, but you're wanted in Seattle, that's how they get you from point A to point B. This seems a little bit weird to do right after we're talking about prison transports, but I guess that's the charm of this show, right? That former CEO of Miss America had his emails leaked out. And he was kind of a dick. This dude was just kind of a dick. Here's an example. So this is from Huffington Post. In late August 2014, the CEO of the Miss America organization, Sam Haskell, sent an email to the lead writer of the Miss America pageant telecast, Louis Friedman, informing him to change a change he wanted in the script. "I've decided that when referring to a woman who was once Miss America, we are no longer going to call them forever Miss Americas. Please change all script copy to reflect that they are former Miss Americas." Friedman replied, "I'd already changed forevers to cunts. Does that work for you?" Haskell's reply, "Perfect. Bah ha 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 ha." And that's not the last of it. He fat-shamed and slut-shamed various different contestants that he had a problem with. He had a long-standing problem with Gretchen Carlson, the former Fox News host and 1998 winner, 89 winner. He apparently had a problem with one of the contestants. In August 2014, Haskell received an email from someone he knew who said that Hagen, a former winner's hairdresser in New York, had been commenting on Hagen's sex life while Hagen was living in Los Angeles, as well as her recent weight gain. Haskell forwarded the email to Friedman, saying, "Not a single day passes that I am not told some horrible story about Mallory. Mallory is preparing for her new career as a blimp in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. As she continues to destroy her own credibility, her voice will attract less and less notice as she descends as an unhappy, pathetic footnote." The person responding to Haskell said, "P.S. Are we the only 4 who have not fucked Mallory?" Haskell replied and said, "It appears that we are the only ones." He then wrote that Hagen had slept with somebody he knew, and he told the man's mother, which, Jesus, what kind of world are we descending into? And he's like, I told his mother he needs to have a blood test because we lost count of the number of men she slept with at 25. So this guy's a wiener penis, and I don't think that anybody would look at that in any other way. But it got me thinking. What would you do if all your emails got loose? How would you handle it if all of a sudden every email you'd ever written to anybody, former relationships, if all of a sudden they were all just out in the open? Every AIM, anything that's been written and transmitted digitally? I see a lot of people in this chat room right now that are pretending to be choir boys and girls. But I'll guarantee you that you have probably said something to somebody in a written format on the internet that could cause trouble for you. Texts, emails, instant messages, IRC, whatever it might be. I have done my best to live a life publicly that I would like to live privately. Yeah, sure, I can talk a little shit here and again, but I try not to say things that I wouldn't say to somebody's face. And I try to lead with my empathy as much as I can. But man, the internet is where sarcasm and context go to die. I would like to prophesize an apocalypse. I would like to prophesize the end of days. I would like to prophesize the way the world ends. It will not be heralded by the 4 horsemen. Nay, nay, nay. It will be heralded by a Gmail hack. It will be heralded by an iMessage hack, the likes of which we have never seen before. All of a sudden, it won't just be public figures. One day there will be a database. One day, all anybody will have to do in that database is enter in one email and another email. And when that happens, everybody publicly will be able to see what happened between those two. And no one will be safe. Society will crumble. That is how. You want to know how we go from 0 to Mad Max? That's how we go from 0 to Mad Max. We will tear each other apart. This will end everything as we know it. Society is built on deceit and backstabbing. We have all been guilty of spilling a little bit too much honesty. We have all been in situations where we have not been at our best. And at any point, it might be the most empathetic moment in our lives. We need to reach out and blow off some steam to somebody we trust. That trust has been the brick and mortar of our Western civilization. But what if it was tainted? What if it all came back to haunt us? And what if it wasn't about pointing and laughing at the public figure? It was about wondering whether or not they got that email and whether or not that person would search it. Because let's look at it from the other side. If you knew that that database existed, wouldn't you search it? What if everybody was able to search it? Who would you search first for? Would it be an ex-girlfriend or boyfriend? Would it be a boss? Would it be somebody that you used to go to school with? Would it be somebody that at some point determined your future? Would it be somebody that you just applied for a job to? What happens if all knowledge wants to be free? Anyway, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Let's go ahead and read your emails. JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com. Again, JustinRobertYoung@gmail.com is where you can go ahead and give us your emails. I want to know your emails on that. If there was a database where all emails were now public, who would you search for first? Who would you cross-reference first? Abby writes in, I had a holiday party hookup story for you. I figure you can get a few laughs out of it. I have an awesome friend who I've been friends with for many years. We've hooked up a few times, and he and I were part of Toledo's kink community for a long time before I moved to Michigan. Anyway, it's been forever since I've seen this guy, so I invited him up to my holiday Christmas party. Open bar, awesome music, a Renaissance theme, surprisingly awesome. We were walking around drinking, talking about life, and that's when he tells me that the reason he's been so out of touch is that his girlfriend is pregnant with a baby boy and has been dealing with a mixture of the flu and morning sickness for the last few months. I gave him shit for leaving his girlfriend at home and coming up to the party, but we drink in celebration, catch a lift back to my place, bang for a bit, fall asleep, and he's gone the next day. I sent his girlfriend a message, congratulating her on the little boy, and thanking her for letting her man come up for the night. And that was that. Not the craziest story out there, but it's the only hookup story I have from a Christmas party, so I figured I'd share. Also, it's usually pretty entertaining to hear people's reactions to polyamory stories, so there's that. Here's my reaction. Get a better fucking story, Abby. Jesus. That's just a delightful little tale of people having a fun time together. There's no betrayals or embarrassments or drunken tomfoolery. Like, that's usually, you're just redefining what it is to be a holiday hookup story. Normally, it's like, oops, I fucked my boss, or I definitely just violated 9 HR codes with the HR director. I vomited in somebody's plant. Stuff like that. This was just too nice. Just a nice, fun story. Fie on you for just having good, fun stuff that is in no way embarrassing. Not says, yeah, it's not a story if it's just bragging. It's not like brag about all the awesome sex you've had. Daniel writes, Hey, Justin, it's your old pal. This is probably the worst idea I've ever had, or it could be gold. You decide. Last week, my wife and I were vacationing in Disney and rode the Finding Nemo ride. Assuming you've seen it, you know the sea turtle Crush and his accent. I was hoping that you could give us a little bit of Crush Limbaugh. So Crush, it was a director that voiced it, right? Was it John Lasseter that voiced Crush? Crush, Finding Nemo voice actor. Oh, Andrew Stanton did it. But he has a real, like, surfer guy accent, man. So, let's see, Crush Finding Nemo. I don't know if I can do any lines. Let's see if maybe we can get some famous quotes. Quotes, okay. So here's the quotes on the Disney Wikia is, "Whoa, dude, Mr. Turtle is my father. Okay, grab shell, dude. And no hurling on the shell, okay? Just waxed it." So here we go. Well, yeah, you know, you got to warm up the Rush voice. Well, yeah, you know, yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, yeah. Whoa, dude, Mr. Turtle is my father. Okay, grab shell, dude. And, you know, snurdly, yeah, you know, no hurling on the shell, dude. Just waxed it. Okay. We'll be right back. Snurdly. All right, I want to wrap up this episode by giving a big thank you to so many people that that went back and emailed me over the last week to say really nice things about the show. This is something that means a lot, as many of you long listeners will know. This is a deeply personal show for me. We just passed 2 years of me being able to do this as my full-time job, between this and politics, and Night Attack, and everything else that I do. So thank you guys so much. That is something that just means the absolute world to me, and the fact that you guys get value out of this is something that just is, you know, what can I say? It is the joy of my life. If you would like to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/JURY. Again, patreon.com/JURY supports not only this show, but also the Politics show. One last call for anybody who is trying to get some the bonus sticker packs. That is the $19.99 mega sticker pack. Includes every sticker that we have done after New Year's. So you're going to get them a little bit after New Year's, but any order after New Year's will be back to the normal sticker pack, which is about half as big. So go ahead and check that out now if you want a piece of that. But until next time. If you find yourself being whispered to by God himself,
What do you say we both just leave?
if you find yourself mispronouncing Sochu,
There more here left to see?
if you find yourself on a prison transport service bus, or if you find yourself amidst the digital apocalypse that I have prophesied. Well, ladies and gentlemen, remember that my name is Justin Robert Young, and I am wishing you one simple lesson for 2017 and beyond. Yes, friends, please don't.
Look at me.
Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.